we have a 300 Blackout PSA build. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about this build right here, my overall thoughts of it, how I did it, and just more overall information, guys. So this right here, like I said, is a Palmetto State Armory 300 Blackout. And I got this thing in April of 2022. I've shot many rounds through it. Overall, I can say I do recommend something like this. However, there are a couple of things that I would do differently. So, starting off, I kind of pieced this pistol together. So I got this lower for $300, $299. It was shipped to my FFL. I got this lower because I really wanted to try a collapsible brace, which overall is okay. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's okay. But yeah, so I had this shipped to my FFL, and then I got the upper for $330, again, about 2-ish years ago from when this video is coming out. And this is, like I said, chambered in 300 Blackout, a 10.5-inch barrel to complete this pistol overall. And the upper was shipped directly to me. I live in Arizona, so that is the legal process for where I live. And started piecing this thing together. To add to that, it came with a standard charging handle. So nothing too special about that. Standard mil-spec charging handle. And again, guys, since this was a budget build for me, kind of, this was one of my first 300 Blackouts, and I just wanted to get one myself. I had shot one before, but I wanted to own one myself to try out the round and see what I thought about it. So this being a budget build, I added these polymer flip-up sights, which were maybe 75-ish bucks for the two together. And these are the M-Bus Magpul ones that you can push. They have little tabs on the side, same on the front. I actually have this kind of backwards. I should switch it around. But you push up here, up front, to release it. And those are my backup sights. And I'm running a SIG Romeo 5. And I think that was around $150. And it's worked just fine. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Gets the job done. But overall, gets the job done is kind of how I would describe a build like this. It works just fine. I haven't had any issues. But the deeper I've gotten into the 300 Blackout game, things have kind of changed a little bit. So if you're looking for your first 300 Blackout, I would recommend maybe starting out a build like this, and you can customize it a little bit further than I have. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute here. But yeah, guys, overall, I would recommend checking out some of the PSA stuff. I got this a couple years ago, and since then, PSA has stepped their game up even more and come out with a bunch of different offerings and different levels. But this is kind of higher level. So here, like I mentioned, $299, $329, $150-ish, and for these sights, backup sights, somewhere around $75. So you're getting a pretty decent pistol setup for under the $1,000 mark after tax and everything like that. And so it's doable, guys. Overall, it's pretty decent, but I've gotten deeper into the firearm game, and I have many pistols and rifles. And while I do recommend this, I've kind of stepped up my 300 Blackout game, which I'll talk about a little bit more. But yeah, guys, if you do want to find something like this or build one yourself, while I do recommend trying it out and doing it, if you're wanting to run something like this suppressed, you might want to think about other options out the gate. And the reason why is because since I've gotten into the suppressor game, up here is a pinned gas block that is not adjustable. So is it the end of the world? Well, no, but if you want to run it suppressed and you want to optimize it for a suppressor you might get, the only thing you really have to work with to tune it is doing a whole new gas block setup or different buffer options. And you know, if I were to look at building something or finding something to suppress, I would probably look for a different option that is more suppressor compatible, and maybe doing a build from the upper back or barrel back. It's just trying to, now that I have this and have a suppressor, trying to go into this thing and start adjusting it for a suppressor and stuff like that. I am just a little concerned that it's just going to be too much to finish with. It's going to be a whole project to do all that. So I don't know. For me, I'm just debating on running this non-suppressed, which it works fine, works great. But ultimately, the 300 Blackout round is very nice to run suppressed. And you know, if you're even considering it down the road, that might be something to think about right out the gate. So, but yeah, guys, if you are on a budget and want to build something quickly, PSA has multiple upper options. I went with the 10.5-inch barrel to get a little bit more velocity. I was originally kind of scared to go too short. Knowing what I know now about the 300 Blackout round and how I want to use it, that would be less of a concern for me personally. But overall, it's still solid. And yeah, guys, I do like it. I do like that PSA has multiple different offerings. I really wanted this collapsible brace originally, and now that I have it, it's okay. It's not my favorite. It's a little wobbly. I don't know if you guys can really hear that or see that. I mean, it's not too terrible, but I do like just having a firm, solid feel. Again, this is a brace, not a full rifle stock. But yeah, it's not bad. I would recommend it, and I do like what PSA has been coming out with. Particularly some of their more premium lineups. For example, I just picked up one of these, and this is a PSA Saber 10. So it's a 308 chambered rifle, and it's the M10A1. And if you want to know more about this, guys, check out some of my other videos. I have a few of this up right now already, and I'll have more coming out. But you know, I do want to shout out PSA because they continue to come out with more and more stuff. So I do want to continue supporting them, and I'm glad that they don't just produce a few things and call it good. So, but yeah, guys, I would recommend their 300 Blackout offerings. Something like this, you could probably consider a shorter barrel pistol as well. But as I got deeper and deeper into the 300 Blackout world, ultimately, this is my preferred one. Okay, guys, so what we have right here is a Q Sugar Weasel, which is not the Honey Badger. The Q Sugar Weasel is less expensive than the Honey Badger and has a little bit different setup. The whole upper is the exact same. Reason why I got the Q Sugar Weasel over the Honey Badger is because after having the collapsible brace on here, ultimately it just felt a little flimsy, and I didn't love it, and I didn't really see the true value in this versus something like this. I know that the Sugar Weasel has a similar setup like this, except it's kind of ingrained into the upper and lower, or mostly the lower, I guess, right here. And I just thought that was kind of unnecessary. So I did want to step up my 300 Blackout game a little bit and go with something a little more Gucci like this, which I'm very happy with. I kind of contributed and pieced it together and built it up a little bit more over time because I really do like the round. So as you can see, like I said before, the SIG on here bumped up to an EOTech on this one. This is the raised lower 1/3 model right here. Threw on a Surefire light. I changed the muzzle device to host a Surefire suppressor. And this one has a tunable gas block, which if you're running suppressed, the internals of the firearm start not liking it so much, or maybe you just don't need to run it so over-gassed like something like this if it were to be suppressed. So ultimately, that's why I kind of stepped the game up to this. So I started out here, which was solid, but as I stepped up my game more, I graduated to this. So I've ran many rounds through both of these. Ultimately, I do recommend both of them. I would recommend this over, say, like a Smith & Wesson brand or a Ruger brand. PSA has had great customer service from my personal experience and what I've heard. So I would say it's a go if you don't want to run it suppressed, or if you want to maybe build something that does have a adjustable gas block model. They might have some of those offerings now. And from here, what else would I do to it? Well, I would change this to probably something like a Radian charging handle right away. That's $75-ish. And this came with a mil-spec trigger, which I do not love. Sure, it works just fine, but for $100-ish, $150-ish more dollars, you can get a really nice trigger. Maybe an ambi safety selector as well, but that'd probably be my last thing. That's kind of the least, it's not a major performance thing there for me personally. So ultimately, yeah, guys, I would recommend it, given all that factor, all that criteria. And I would recommend the 300 Blackout round. Hang tight one sec. So this here is my CZ Scorpion, also a pistol with a brace. Love the Scorpion. It is phenomenal. But this actually, this particular Scorpion, this particular 9mm, so this is chambered in 9mm, actually recoils about the same, if not a little more than 300 Blackout. If I'm being honest with myself and you guys, as much as I freaking love this thing, ultimately the 300 Blackout round just is more lethal, more versatile, recoils differently with the buffer system, whereas this is direct blowback. So they're both really good, but if you're looking for something more versatile and high performance, yeah, guys, definitely consider the 300 Blackout, particularly PSA. You don't have to get it exactly set up just like this. You can get maybe a better offering, or an offering that appeals more to you by getting a lower and then an upper that might be shorter or longer or different features. Or you might already have a lower and you can just throw an upper on. But ultimately, I do recommend it, like I said multiple times now. I'm just trying to make sure that I do excuse me, give you guys the best information here. So anyway, yeah, guys, thank you for sticking around. This is the Dialed Sportsman channel. If you like videos like this, feel free to jump on board and subscribe. I have a lot more videos like this coming down the road, and some out already now. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Throw us a like if you like videos like this, and we'll see you next time.